Letters from a Slave Girl, Part 2, Uncle Joseph. March 1835. Dear Joseph, I remember you telling me before you ran away 7 years ago, Harriet, the poverty and hardship of freedom always better than slavery. Gran, she worries that her handsome son been living all this time like a stray dog with nowhere to go, but you made your choice, and I got to do the same. I've been asked to strike a deal with the devil. The doctor is saying he will make out free papers for my Joseph and Louisa if I move to the cottage he built for me, and I can't never see or talk to Samuel Sawyer again. If I don't agree, Norcom going to send me and the children into plantation slavery. Your boy shall be put to work, the doctor says, and he shall soon be sold. Your girl shall be raised for the purpose of selling well. Last year he gave the plantation to young James Norcom and his wife-to-be. You know what that means for me. Like the father, so like the son. Free the children? Don't believe it for a minute. Unknowing to me, he'd make out false papers. There I would be, caught in his cottage, and him crowing like a chicken riding a horse. Well, I have made me a plan. I feel strong when I recall what you said in jail. We don't die but once. Harriet. Please stop here and consider question number 1. April 1835. Auburn Plantation. Dear Joseph, first time in 6 years I've been away from your good mama's safe home. Louisa and I ride out here last week in an old steer car. Little Joseph feeling puny, so we let him stay with Gran. At least we're not in the fields, though I've been working like a mule since I got here. Young master wants me to wait on him in the great house, so Louisa and we sleep in a little room on the 3rd floor. Sometimes it is a heavy load carrying Lulu up those 37 stairs at the end of the day. Got no time to spend with my baby girl. She wanders alone, and when I hear her crying, makes my own eyes sting. I'm getting the house ready for young James and his bride. Cleaning the carpets and all the drapes, and started to making sheets, tablecloths, and towels. But while I sew, my mind moves quick as my fingers. Joseph, I need a good dose of your nerves and Mama's patience. If my plan goes well, the doctor gonna sell the children fast as lightning, and he won't even know they've been bought by their daddy. Harriet. Please stop here and consider question number 2. Early May 1835. Dear Joseph, Louisa had a close call a few days ago. Crawled out from under the house, and a fat snake come slithering out after her. The young master killed it, but he feel guilty. It was easy to talk him into sending her back to Gran. She went to town yesterday in an old cart filled with shingles. Young James says ugly words about colored children being broke in, but I guess he is too young yet to be as hard as his daddy. I had a scare too. My arm's aching to hold little Joseph, so I creep away in the middle of the night. One of the Norcom field hands leads me on a 6-mile walk through the woods to town. There was a big yellow moon, and it reminded me of my first dance and made me feel like a young girl. I climb in Gran's bedchamber window and steal a few prized minutes with my family by moonlight. My heart was so full when I see them that I just stand there and cry. Then my friend he come back all too soon for the return trip. 3 miles out we hear the paddy rollers, and for a few awful seconds we listen for the dogs. Thank God they leave their bloodhounds at home that night. We just had time to hide behind a great oak before they come by fast, drinking and partying. My guide says sometimes he leaves vines tied across the road to knock the poor white pecks off their horses, and if the dog's chasing you, he tells me, grease the bottom of your feet with snuff and lard, then they lose the scent. Makes me trembly to think of that, Joseph, but I will be bold like you and get ready for the worst. Harriet A. May 24th, 1835. Sunday. Dear Joseph, today is my chance. They let me spend Sabbath with Gran. She been my faithful old companion, and being with her is a comfort. Here is the plan. I will hide in the house of a friend. Then Norcom, he'll think I escaped to the Free States. So he will sell little Joseph and Louisa to be rid of them, and Samuel can buy his children. I talked to Mom and Daddy at the burying ground this evening. Mama's tree only a black stump now, and the letter on Daddy's marker been weathered away. But I never felt closer to them, not even when writing them letters. I kneel down in the dark woods, Joseph, and I pray for help. And when I pass the poor wrecked colored church, seems like Daddy's voice coming from it strong as ever. Hurry on, Harriet, he tells me. Hurry till you get to freedom or the grave. Harriet J. Please stop here and consider question number 3. May 25th, 1835. Monday. Dear Joseph, my courage has left me. Gran, she begged me not to go. Nobody respects a mother who leaves her children, she says, and you go to make me miserable the short time I got left to live. She reminded me how they parade you through the town in chains when you were caught the first time. She's been over with her 65 years, Joseph. I can't add more weight to the load. I need a new scheme. But James Norcom is married Wednesday, and there's so many chores to do I can't think straight till after the wedding. Harriet. June 6, 1835, 11 p.m. Dear Joseph, I am leaving tonight at 12. But time hangs on like a dead branch that won't fall. My chair is pulled to the open window. The air in this little room is stifling. Between heat and fear, I can't catch my breath. The marriage last week stick like grit in my craw. They had a wedding dinner, and for the first time ever had to wait round a table. But the worst was seeing the doctor and his wife. I had not seen her face to face for 5 years, and I could tell by the way she turned up the corners of her mouth I am just where she wants me, serving her family and miles from her house back in town. Today she and the doctor come visiting, and I overhear the doctor say to his son, "Don't wait any longer. Send for them tomorrow." I know what their plan is. They think they're so clever to bring my children back to the farm to be broken like animals. Long as Joseph and Louise are here, the Norcoms know I won't never run. But I am one step ahead. Midnight. 3 times you escaped, Uncle Joseph. Send me some of your daring. I need it to slip down these creaky stairs and climb out into the dark night. H.A. Please stop here and consider question number 4. June 7, 1835. The house of a friend. Dear Joseph, I run the 6 miles to Gran's house like a scalded cat. Thoughts of patty rollers and dogs circle around my head the whole time. The woman who rents a room from Gran raised her window when I whisper, "Sally, I have run away. Let me in quick." She opens the door and begs me not to leave. "Mr. Sawyer been here last week," she says softly. "He told Molly he will help buy you and the children. Don't run away, Harriet," she says. "Your grandmama all bowed down from the trouble now." But I was out of time. Samuel always been big on promises, but what good are they when my son and daughter are going to the plantation in only a few hours? I ask her to hide my clothes in her trunk, then I kiss my sleeping babies goodbye. Doubts pour over me. They got no true father, and now they got no mama. By sunrise I guess young James find I am gone, because by 10 o'clock the doctor come and tear up every inch of Gran's house. My trunk was empty, so all day they've been searching ships, thinking I'm heading north. My friend has hid me well. She just come back with a notice she tore off the courthouse door. The doctor, he has wasted no time posting this broadside for miles around. $300 reward. Ran away from the subscriber an intelligent, bright mulatto girl named Harriet, 21 years of age. 5 feet 4 inches high. Dark eyes and black hair inclined to curl, but it can be made straight. Has a decayed spot on the front tooth. She can read and write, and in all probability will try to get to the Free States. All persons are forbidden, under penalty of law, to harbor or employ said slave. $150 will be given to whoever takes her in the state, and $300 if taken out of the state and delivered to me, or lodged in jail. Dr. Norcom. My friend says there is a night watch for me over the town, but she brung glad news too. When she tells me my children still safe at Gran's, we cry together like folks at a camp meeting. So the plan is worked. The hound is too busy hunting the fox to take Joseph and Louisa to the farm. But now the war is on. Harriet Ann J. Please stop here and consider question number 5. June 10th, 1835. Dear Joseph, days of watching and waiting. I remember your months in the jail, covered with lice, sometimes nothing but white beans and water to eat. How come you stood it so long? I've been sending messages to Gran and Mark. I tell them I am safe, but make sure they don't know where. They send messages back, begging me to return. Ask the master's forgiveness, they say, and let him make an example of you. And what would that be? Bent over in the cotton fields with a sack hanging from my neck to the ground, hands ripped after 12 hours of picking cotton balls? Or would he insist on a public whipping like Mr. Collins wanted to give you, Uncle? I think of the poor slaves on the posts behind the courthouse, the lash hissing through the air like cold water on a red-hot iron. If I had to die first, that memory won't never ride my children at night. Harriet. June 15th, 1835. Dear Joseph, the pain is awful. Last night a search patrol came very near my hiding spot, so I fly out in a panic and hide in a thicket of bushes for 2 hours. I was like a turtle, afraid to move. Then something cold and slimy grabbed my leg. I slap at the thing, but it was too dark to see if it was a snake. When I limp back to the house, my leg is already swelled from the poisonous bite. I tell my friend, pack it with warm ashes and vinegar, then run to the root doctor. Soak a dozen copper pennies in vinegar overnight, root doctor says, and use the vinegar as a dressing in the morning. The pain has let up some, but it is hard to walk, and Gran has sent a message. Leave this house at 9 tonight. Go to the back side of the warehouse down at the water. I be meeting somebody. Don't know who. Going someplace. Don't know where. Joseph. Feels like I am walking blindfolded straight into the bay. H. A. Jacobs. Please stop here and consider question number 6. June 16th, 1835. Dear Joseph, I did not drown in the bay and go to heaven, but I am in the house of an angel, with my light flooding my room, and I lay here on a pile of feather beds, just like some queen from the Bible. My belly is still full from the hot supper I ate last night, pork stew, sweet white corn, and butter biscuit. Best of all, I've been spying on the doctor from the window when he marches down Broad Street to his office. Well, I went to the warehouse like I've been told. Nobody much round, but I know the night patrols be looking for me soon because it is almost dark. Nothing left of daylight but purple streaks across the sky. I squat like a rat behind the barrel, my leg hot and throbby, and Joseph, I am scared down to my toes. Then soft footsteps come down the path and an almost low voice call my name. Harriet. I almost hollered when I see my old friend Luna, who is cook for the widow Blount. She don't say another word, but hurry me along to the widow's house. When we were inside, she says, Honey, now you safe. The devils ain't coming to search this house. I expect you need some supper after all this scaring. Luna. She says that yesterday, Gran told Martha Blount all my troubles. Gran been knowing her for years because the widow, she related to Miss Elizabeth Horniblow. And Mrs. Blount says, Aunt Molly, I will hide Harriet, but you must swear you will never mention my name or it will ruin me and my family. And that is how I am in this storeroom at the top of the stairs, right over the Missis's bedchamber. Except for Luna and her husband, not even Mrs. Blount's other colored people know I am here. So, Uncle, I have won the first battle in this war. Harriet. June 17th, 1835. Dear Joseph, it is only Martha Blount who has kept me from flying out of the house to the jail. Less than 3 blocks from this cozy room, John, Aunt Betty, and my children sit behind thick flat bars on a cold stone floor. You will never see them again, Norcom tells Gran, not till Harriet is brought back. Luna brought a message from John. Wherever you are, don't come here. We would be much better off than you are. If you come, you going to ruin us all. They would force you to tell you where you've been or kill you. So Martha Blount has talked me into staying. She says Aunt Betty will take good care of Joseph and Louisa. Poor Aunt Betty. Only crime she commit is loving us too much. Uncle, I see a picture in my mind. 6 years ago, midnight, me and Gran, we dress up in dark clothes to sneak a visit to you in the jail. The cell is quiet as death and the moon is watching us through the bars. I hear the rattle of chains and a soft crying when Gran warms your cold hands in hers. I put my babies in that picture. Then I squeeze my eyes shut tight to make it disappear. H. Ann. Please stop here and consider question number 7. July 17th, 1835. Dear Joseph, after a month, Aunt Betty is let out of jail. Guess it is too tiring for Mrs. Norcom to fix her own dinner and eat it too. Luna goes to see John and the children, and I weep after each visit. She says John holds them up to the grated window and they prattle on about their mama. Had a great fright a few days ago. Norcom stops by Gran's and tells her he knows where I am. Says he will have me by midnight. Gran and Mark got word to Luna. She rushed me down the stairs, crossed the yard, and into the kitchen. I wiggled down into a hollow space under the floorboards. It was padded with a buffalo skin and a scrap of carpet to lie on. Luna, she lays the plank down, and I just got enough room to bring my hands to my face. I'd been bit by a small snake, I think, and chased by a big one. Now these reptiles are going to walk on top of me. Stay here, Luna says, till I see do they know about you, and if they did know where you are, they won't know now. But it was all a trick. While the other housemaids walk across the kitchen floor, knocking dirt into my eyes and mouth, Luna tells stories about me to draw them out. They are sure I am in the North by now. Philadelphia or New York, they say. Word travels fast around the kitchens of Edenton. Some folks call it the Black Dispatch. If the doctor suspicioned of my whereabouts, the housemaids would know. When they went to bed, Luna raised the plank. Come out, child, she says. They don't know nothing about you. 'Twas only white folks' lies to scare us niggers. Well, the lies don't work. H.J. August 15th, 1835. Dear Joseph, 2 months, and my family still in prison. Norcom come to this house today, and I almost faint when I hear him downstairs. Can't make out the words, but I know he's a preachy-sounding voice. Luna tells me he come to borrow $500 from Martha Blount to chase me after me in New York. But he will waste her money and his time. Luna and Martha Blount both say he is discouraged. Now is the time for Mr. Sawyer to buy your children, they say. I got word for Grant to talk to Samuel, but I don't hold much hope. Norcom is aggravated. He needs my babies to work out his spite on me. Harriet Ann. August 18th, 1835. Dear Joseph, I have bit my lips till they bloody. I overhear 2 housemaids this morning. One says yesterday a speculator bought John and the children. The other maid says, no, the daddy has bought them. Last night I feel in my bones that something has happened. I hear singing outside the window. Then the singing turned into moans of Joseph and Louisa. I know it sounds strange to you, Uncle, but you're not a mama. When I kneel down to pray, my children pass in front of me like spirit ships out on the ocean. If Luna don't get up here soon, Evening. Dear Joseph, I almost forgot what happy is. Luna come to say the children and John now belong to Samuel. They has taken their first step to freedom, and what a jig they dance for Norcom. Here is Luna's report. Early yesterday, Samuel sends a slave trader to offer $900 for John and $800 for Louisa and Joseph. Being short on money, Norcom demands $1,900 for them all. The trader, he agrees, but he insists that the sale be quick. He got a drove of slaves to get out of town, he says, and has to be on his way. By 10 o'clock, John and the children were in his hands. A blacksmith fixed a slave chain 40 feet long with handcuffs every 2 or 3 feet. The men were tightly chained together like peppers threaded on a string. And then come the children in the cart and the women walking behind. You've seen it before, Luna tells me. Husbands sold from their wives like bulls from cows, children torn from their mama's arms. The speculator, says Luna, and shakes her head. He buys cheap and sells high. She says Norcom wearing a satisfied look when he watched his mournful parade leave town. I guess he was thinking my family will never annoy him again. But Samuel and the slave trader, they has made a deal. The trader stops at Mr. Skinner's farmhouse a few miles out and hammers off John's irons. My brother somehow finds a wagon and takes Joseph and Louisa back to Gran's. Luna waiting there too. She says Gran quick close the curtains and light the candles. She hugs her great-grandchildren, then falls on her knees to give thanks. John grabs the children. Luna tells me with a grin on her face, and they dance in the circle, laughing and shouting. And I am only a few blocks away, unknowing what all is happening to them I love best in the world. Well, their mama wasn't there to watch them celebrate, but their daddy was. Samuel shows up after dark, Luna says, looking pleased with what had happened. Well, Uncle, he never done nothing against our children, but till now, little for them either. Seeing them so happy, maybe he's thinking about setting them free. But I won't hope for too much at once. For now, the dark cloud of my life has rolled away. At peace, Harriet. Please stop here and consider question number 8. August 19th, 1835. Dear Joseph, another day buried under the floor. Didn't take the doctor long to find out who did buy his slaves, and now he is stirred up again. Gran's house been searched every day. Doctor accuses Mark of helping me escape and has put him in jail. So when Luna gets word of the searching, she hides me again. Patrols were all over the house, thick as hairs on a man's head, she says. Under the boards I can hear their rude voices and feel them clomping over my head. I can't stay here, Uncle. It's too dangerous for everybody. Besides, I'm sick of laying on the damp ground in one spot. I can't go back in that hole again. Norcom threatened Gran. If I meet John in the street, he say, I'll flog him within an inch of his life. So Samuel thinks John would be safer if he works on his farm for a few months. Luna is seeing the children today. They a little puny from 2 months in jail, she says, but they'll be muley strong soon. Harriet Ann. August 21st, 1835. Dear Joseph, it is near about dark. I write with the sound of water slapping against the ship. Did you remember when you sang and laughed in jail till Mr. Collins had you ironed? Praise God, you can't see me now, dressed in a pea-jacket and trousers and my hair tucked under a tarpaulin hat. Your laughing would give us all away. I am in great danger. Yesterday, I was sewing by the window and waiting for my evening treat, watching Norcom walk home from his office. Then I hear a key rattling in the storeroom door. The needle freezes in my hand and I hear more keys, but none fit, and there's a faint rustle of skirts as footsteps fall away. When Luna brings my supper, I tell her what has happened. I know who it is, says she. Depend upon it, that was Jenny. She always got the devil in her. She just want to find out who have cut and make my new gown. I'll get Mrs. to fix her, Luna says. But then we look at each other, and we know now my safe time here at Martha Blount's house is over. When she tells the Mrs. says to keep Jenny busy in the kitchen while she goes to see Mark. And now he and Gran has arranged a new hiding place for me. Luna says, I'm so glad you're going to be free parts. Don't forget old Luna. Perhaps I'll come along by and by. Then she gives me the sailor suit. Put your hands in your pockets, she says, and walk rickety like the sailors. And with a buckeye in my pocket for good luck, I leave the 2 good women who risk their lives for me. When I walk outside, the fresh air smells so fine I almost forget to be scared. Peter is my guide, a trusty man who used to work with Daddy. Be brave, he whispers. I got a dagger. I thought about you wandering the streets of Baltimore, Uncle, when you were too sick to keep up your escape, and how you run smack into a white man from Edenton. For a runaway slave, walking around town feels like walking around naked. Seemed like everybody was staring right at me, but I guess this sailor looked like all the others in town, except a little shorter. Aunt Betty's good husband, Uncle Stephen, meet us at the wharf and row us out to his owner's empty ship, and here we sit all night like ducks. At dawn we'd be leaving the ship because the patrols might search it for runaways. Then Uncle Stephen going to row us over to the snaky swamp, and there we sit some more till he come back to get us at dusk. Joseph, I look down in these waters and remember you almost took your own life after your first capture. Like you, only thinking about the family keeps me from pitching myself over the side. Harriet. Please stop here and consider question number 9. August 23rd, 1835. Dear Joseph, 2 days in the swamp has given me a roaring fever. We are back on the ship for a 3rd night, but Peter swears, Harriet, I will take you home even if the devil himself is on patrol. What home? I think. I got no home now. There is more snakes in the swamp than God can count, and enough mosquitoes to make a pie. Peter hacked out a place in the briars and brambles for me to sit, but by sundown we had to beat the snakes away from our feet with sticks. I am hot and cold all at once, and my head feels light as cotton. Peter says Uncle Mark been working on a new hiding place, and Uncle Stephen been rowing us back to the wharf. Blacken your face with coal, he is telling me now, and get ready to walk 2 blocks to your grandmother's house. Peter's voice sounds sad, Uncle Joseph. You gotta make the most of this walk, he says, because you won't get another one very soon. Harriet. Please stop here and consider question number 10.